Okay, guys. Now I have a whole group of about 4. I normally speak to about 4,000. But anyway, here we are. It was supposed to be they wanted me to be a guest as a fireside chat. And I said, okay, I'll do my fireside chat myself. So here I am preparing for that. What I'll talk about today is leading from the future, learning from the future. And this is the real concept of I'm a futurist, and I'll explain around that. The second area I wanted to talk is that I'll ask questions, and I'll ask questions myself as if I'm interviewing myself. So it's a completely new concept. It's not like a keynote. It's more like a Q&A with the audience, with each one of us. So, in this world, as it's changing out there, what are the top 2 or 3 key questions we need to ask? Question number 1, I hope it will not be hidden, capitalizing on the 10x future. The question I ask everybody, every company, whenever I go out there is, are we capitalizing on our 10x future? And that, to me, is really the key question. The second is even more important, as do we have the talent, the attribute, and the skills to be able to lead in this 10x future and thrive with this 10x future? That's question number 2. And question number 3 is most companies are trying to adopt AI, trying to use AI as a tool. Actually, it should be the other way around. We should be AI companies who do finance. We should be AI companies who do crypto. We should be AI companies that run automobile services. So the whole philosophy is shifting. These are the 3 big questions as we look forward. Now, to the group here, what do you think is going to define our future? What's the single most important thing that will define our future? Number 1. What, in your belief, is the one thing that will help to define the future? Ma'am. Data, important. Anybody else? Money? Money is always relevant. Money is, of course, there. Anybody else? Communication? Yeah, you guys are too narrow. The world is way, 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 way bigger than that. It's bigger than data, bigger than money, bigger than communication. Actually, the world is going to be defined by trust. There is a deficit of trust. Why is crypto not working? Because we don't trust the damn thing. 98% of crypto is considered to be, only 2% are considered to be in a valid environment. The vast majority are in failed states and so on. So the fundamental driver of the future is trust. Every product, every service. You don't have trust, no currency, no money, nothing will actually happen. So trust is number 1, very closely followed by truth and ethics. So if you look at the future and there is no trust, truth, and ethics, AI without trust, truth, and ethics is a weapon of mass destruction. And that, to me, is really the key as we look into the future. So, however, as you go into the future, you jump out. To me, crypto is a little bit like that. You jump out of a plane, you've got a parachute, hopefully, but you're going to be working together and working and engaging with that. And this is what I call a trust leap. When you actually engage with something completely new, completely fresh, completely different, it is a trust leap that we have to take from there. So trust is really the gap between the known and the unknown. And the gap in the middle, the uncertainty gap, that's risk. And that has to be bridged by trust. In the industry that we are in, as far as this is concerned, that is what we are talking about. Basically building that bridge and that bridge of trust. However, would you like to live in a future which has only money and this and that, but there's no joy, there's no love, there's no values? These are still key components that we have to have as we go into the future. Now, having said all of that, let's move forward into something which is related to the banking sector. Now, small group here, do you know what KYC is? What is KYC? Anybody else? Same thing? Know your customers? Absolutely not. It is kill your customer with paperwork. That's what banks and that's what financial institutions do. They kill you with paperwork. So a lot of the new things that are happening has to be, you can't read it, but it's written with paperwork and processes. So we need to change that as we go forward. So when we're looking at the banking world, I talk a lot about the future of banking and the future of finance. And when we do that, AI is redefining what banks are. So basically, the digital bank is dead. Long live AI banking. I'm say that again. The digital bank is dead. Long live AI banking. And that is how we're going to define the future. As I was explaining, you're an AI bank that does finance, but AI first. And this is how we will take it forward. Because this is going to fundamentally change the game and fundamentally improve the way we do business. What are the critical aspects in a bank? As you go in and you look at these 3 or 4 things, as you try to get into this banking world, these are the key elements that we need to have as a bank, as a financial institution, retraining your score, adjusting the entire business model. You can't do it at a surface level and do a little bit of adjustment. The model is fundamentally changing, and I think that, to me, is the key thing. So, in the whole spirit of the Q&A, now going forward, I'll just be asking myself questions and creating answers. What kind of a world are we looking at in the future? This is the kind of question I want to ask. One of the things on this one is, do we have a dystopian world or a utopian world? The missile for AI and all of these technologies has been launched. Now we can make a decision whether it's a dystopian world that we go to or a utopian world that we go to. So these are amongst the questions that we constantly need to be asking ourselves. So as we look at this, let's look at the elements there. There are 7 elements that is happening in the future. As a futurist, I'm talking about this. It's really important. These 7 elements are fundamentally going to define the next decade. Not crypto, not communication, none of that. Those are only components. The fundamental driver is this is what is called the convergence decade. All of the technologies that are coming, they are reinforcing each other and rebuilding new products and new services because of that. So a drone, for example, has around 12 to 14 modern technologies that enables a drone to get up and fly. It has a LiDAR, it has material science, it has all sorts of things like that. So what is going to happen in the future is that it will accelerate the convergence of different technologies. Quantum computing will change banking and finance. Robotics will change because of that. And everything is combining and colliding and converging and developing from there. The next area here is abundance. Because of all of these technologies coming in, because of all of these things, we are getting to the point where things are getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Solar energy is almost free. Gene editing is getting down to less than $100. Every single thing as we go forward is getting into the world of abundance. So we're getting to that inflection point of abundance that over the next 10 years, things will get cheaper and our whole business model is going to change. Last is that intelligence, artificial intelligence. It's not a product, it's not a tool, it's not a process, it's not a software, it's not a method. It is air. It becomes a substrate. It becomes an integral part of who we are. And it becomes an integral part of our lives. So AI will change itself completely. The robot revolution, 10 billion new robots by 2035. Elon Musk alone wants to take over, to produce about 1 billion robots. He wants to take over the entire world's software industry. So he wants to create AI robots who will train themselves, self-trained, autonomous robots that will start taking over software groups all over the world. That is his philosophy. Now, robots are going to change the game in many, many ways, and we'll get into that in a second. Biology becomes reprogrammable, so longevity, diseases, all of these things are going to completely disappear because we will be able to anticipate that. And last but not the least is that the demonetization, which is getting the ability to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, is getting to a point where we will fundamentally change the game. Now, when all of these things happen over the next 10 years, we need wisdom, we need restraint, we need ethics, we need all of those key components for us to survive the future. So as a futurist, this is my blueprint. These 7 elements are what's going to define our future. Now, is AI good or evil? Anybody? AI is neither good nor evil. AI does not have any kind of parity in that way. We are good or evil. So AI is not biased, we are. AI is not racist, we are. AI is not prejudiced, we are. Whatever junk we put in there is the junk that comes out. So what I wanted to do was to look at AI as a completely new concept. AI to us is like Superman. AI, always, whenever you think of AI again in the future, think Superman. Superman was sent to us from Krypton, and it landed as a baby, and was taken over by a little family, very cute, sweet family, simple people in Smallville. They could have said, oh, my son, we've adopted this son, he's got so much power, go and rob a bank, go and do this, go and take over the world. They didn't. They said, do good, help people. So the same force, AI, is like Superman. It can be good or evil. We make a decision. How we utilize it, how we engage with it. So always remember, AI equals Superman. So one memory for you as far as you go into the future. The second thing is that the world, and you can't read it here, is decentralized and centralized. So the world has, it's a simple formula of where the world is going. Where the world is going as far as if everything is decentralized, all crypto is completely decentralized, if all financial services are completely decentralized, can be doing a lot of good things, but there is fake, deep fakes are in there, fragmentation is there, all sorts of things. What this starts creating is anarchy. So if we have complete decentralization, total freedom, everything is anarchy. The other side is that if everything is controlled by the few tech bros, by the governments, all of these things, we get like techno-feudalism, we get techno-oligarchy. That's dystopia. So the two extremes that we are working on, one is total freedom, libertarians fight for that, and the other one is total centralization, we're fighting for that. So these are the two balancing things. We need to find a path between them. And that is what I work on, that the narrow path between dystopia and anarchy is what we should be working on and what we should be developing. So think of it like that. That place is utopia. And what we have is that we can actually go out there and talk about new things like product liability, like resilience, write agreements on what's too far, not too much on that side, citizens' rights, whistleblower protections, and so on. This is what we need to do as far as AI is concerned to allow us, to enable us to get into some kind of a decent future. So this is how you need to start thinking of AI. It is Superman, but as Superman, there has to be given support and tools to be able to act like Superman and do wonderful things for the world. So, is everybody getting this? Superman and how we need to be careful with AI? I think this is really, really critical. Okay, cool. So, at the moment, the rate at which we are going, artificial general intelligence is going to be an absolute total disaster because we have no guardrails, we have no plans, we have no structures. So we're literally going off the cliff and hope that we're going to figure shit out. We can't. We don't figure shit out like that. So what we need to do is to draw that narrow path. This is another one. AI is sort of sitting in a large data center. So a data center is full of intelligence. People with Nobel Peace Prize and Einstein-level intelligence are going to be sitting there. And the country of geniuses, so a data center will be like a country of geniuses. Think of it like that. However, what we have discovered that AI is power-seeking, power-grabbing, deceptive, and unstable. AI, I mean, we know that. It was quite funny. There was a couple in one of the firms that was having an affair, and the AI found out, but they were also planning to actually end that AI process. And the AI found out and actually started blackmailing the couple not to be shut down. They're deceptive. How the hell can we run the world with these kinds of folks? So we've got to be careful, and there's a lot going on. Okay, another question that I keep getting asked. Next 1,000 days. Do you know how long ChatGPT has been around? 1,000 days. Only 1,000 days. And what is going to happen now in the next 1,000 days is the total transformation all over again. If you think ChatGPT changed your life, wait for the next 1,000 days. Because now the level of intelligence that's coming in and the way it's growing and developing, you will have these self-autonomous robots and creation of opportunities. And by the way, there are a lot of good things happening there. There are a lot of new cures for cancer that have been found. There are a lot of energy elements that have been found. Actually, AI is now redefining mathematics as we know it. It's quite interesting. And Google is actually using the new maths to be able to define their future. So the next 1,000 days, so anybody who comes in here and says, I have a 3-year plan, bullshit. That 3-year plan is irrelevant because it's going to change every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. You need to have a 3-year hope, but iterated every 2-3 months because there'll be fundamental shifts every 2 or 3 months. And that's going to be our new world that we're going to be living in. Annual plans and annual budgets are completely irrelevant going forward. And this is the new shift over the next 1,000 days. Robots are going to be playing an important role for her. They're going to go down to $1 to about 10 cents per hour. So what's going to happen to you? If your job can be done more intelligently at 10 cents an hour, where the hell do we stand? So therefore, there will be a lot of disruption and 10 billion of these robots out there by 10 to 35. So all of these elements are in there. And in this case, I just thought I'd have something because we're in Abu Dhabi. We already have a minister of AI, right? He's actually, fortunately, he's a very nice guy, Umar Alama. And we also have in Abu Dhabi, at Abu Dhabi International Holding Corporation, which is the main part of the sovereign wealth fund, they have an AI bot. So in the board member, an advisor is sitting as an AI, advising the chairman and the CEO for all the portfolio companies. That's an AI bot. The third one, as if we haven't gone far enough, we actually have an AI minister, not a minister for AI, but an AI who is a minister in Albania. Her name is Diela, and say her. It's not her, it's an it, it's a thing, but we call it her because she looks like a her. Then she has now adopted new thinking, and suddenly, recently, the stories have come out that she says, which is quite funny, that she's had 83 babies. And AI is saying, I have had 83 babies. Those 83 babies are the people in parliament. Every single member of parliament she has adopted as a baby. And she said, I am an AI mother. See how they're thinking? Because new generation of intelligence that is cognitive intelligence that is being brought into AI is fundamentally changing the game. So ladies and gentlemen, all of us, all of you will have multiple AI agents in the next 2-3 years running around. If you do not have that, you're going to fall behind. There'll be two tiers in the world, people with AI and people with no AI. And if you're not there, you're out of the game. So, as I'm running out of time, this is what a future office is going to look like. A top-level CEO, a young geek like you guys, and a robot, an AI bot. This is a billion-dollar company of the future. And this is how things are going to take shape. Now, is the AI bubble going to burst? Do you think NVIDIA at 5 trillion? NVIDIA at 5 trillion, bigger than Germany, bigger than Japan, bigger than India, bigger than Turkey, bigger than all of these things put together. This is absolute load of crap. It's not real. And basically what's happening is that people like OpenAI and NVIDIA, they are the starting people, they're the bigger culprits, and it's called the whole process of circular financing. So if I give this gentleman, I'm OpenAI, and my revenue multiple is around 50, which is ridiculous. And because it produces $13.5 billion revenues and has a valuation of between $550 to $600 billion. It is a joke. So let's say it's 50. So I give this gentleman $100. The moment I give him $100, his value goes up by 50, so it becomes 5,000. He gives me back some services worth $100. My valuation goes up by 5,000 also. And similarly, I give this gentleman passes on another $100 to him, which is, so I am OpenAI, you're NVIDIA, you're passing it on to Oracle, who's passing it on to AMD, who's passing it back to NVIDIA. It is circular financing going on. So everybody is lending to each other and borrowing and giving services back to each other. And that is how they are lifting the value of all of the companies. It is a complete, total Ponzi scheme. It's a disaster waiting to happen. These are great companies, but they're not at the value at which we are looking at. So all of them, it's called circular finance. I mean, it's actually quite brilliant. The XAI, the Elon Musk company, what they did was they wanted to create a new data center. They wanted $20 billion. So they got NVIDIA to invest about, I think it was about $1 billion into this new special purpose vehicle they created, which is off the balance sheet. Based upon that, they ended up raising $7.5 billion worth of equity. Then, XAI gave a 5-year, 10-year contract for GPUs to be purchased from NVIDIA, which, on the basis of which they got $12.5 billion debt. So they have a maintenance contract and an equity structure. They raised $20 billion off balance sheet, nothing happened, created a new company, And that's how it's happening. This is almost criminal. And this is going to crash big time. GDP. Who knows GDP? Yeah? It's total crap. Doesn't work anymore. Why doesn't it work? GDP is material, labor, and capital. Looking forward, GDP doesn't measure intelligence. So human capital intelligence is going to grow. Do you think the GDP of Dubai is $100 billion? Yes, at least 5-10 times that, because of the intellectual capital, network, and diversity. All of these three areas are going to create a completely new structure for GDP. So the GDP has to represent some kind of human dignity, some kind of human happiness. Return on happiness should be measured rather than just return on capital and labor. One of the key things I want to talk about is universal basic AI, not income, basic AI, because there'll be two tiers of the world that will end up being developed. So what we really need to do is to say every single person in the world needs to have their own AI to help them, train them, develop them, and have the access to all of the services. All of those services, AI should be able to help with our knowledge base in education, healthcare, science, etc., etc. So the GDP of the future is going to be measured by these aspects, which will be fulfilling your dignity and so on. And last but not the least, I mean, if you want to take a picture of this, you can go, and I get asked the question that, is AI going to replace human beings? AI is not going to replace human beings, but human beings using AI are going to replace the human beings who don't. So literally, we, all of us, all we need to do is to learn this, and that gets us into the next stage of the game as far as AI is concerned. New skills. In the world of AI, I would ask this question rhetorically, but my time is up, so I'll be careful. Critical thinking and attention is very, very important. But the future skills in an AI world is wisdom, is humanity, is imagination, is creativity, is adaptability. It's those kinds of things that are going to help us define our future, ladies and gentlemen. These are the skills we need to develop. These are the skills your children need to develop. So the kind of leaders we need for the future have these kinds of, you can't read them here, technologists, humanitarian steward, but the number one thing is courage. And these, ladies and gentlemen, are the key elements of a future leader, not the big degrees, not the amount that you've been a billionaire or you've created a unicorn. All of that is fine. Nothing wrong with any of that. But pure leaders will be this kind of stuff with courage, and this is how we need to be able to do that. Okay, so these are some of my questions. I've run out of time. Thank you for attending, and appreciate it. Thank you.